Thank you once again for tuning into NBC, your number one African TV station right here in Houston on 43.2. The program is Africa Today. Comes to you every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. and a repeat broadcast on Mondays at 10 a.m. In the headlines for today, Boko Haram lays down arms going for peace. South Africa gives Mali $10 million. And also, still with South Africa, they are facing a challenge now. HIV/AIDS patients are losing funding. And then we'll bring you feedback on the African Cup of Nations currently going on. And for movies, those who do love African movies, now you'll be able to watch them live starting in February. And we'll bring you something also on politics, immigration rules. How is the new immigration rule going to affect Africans right here in America and also those back home? My name is Ivy Henderson, and we've been joined once again by Funsho Olamigoke and Godwin Agbuka. They are all political analysts. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
How are you gentlemen doing?
I'm fine.
We're doing good. Great. Let's start with the Boko Haram issue. I was so happy when I read the report. They've laid down arms and they are going for peace. But they set up some conditions. One is they want all their, their group members to be released unconditionally. Two, they want their places of worship to be rebuilt. And also,
compensation.
They want compensation. The last one, the compensation, that's when I paused and I said, I don't know whether the government will go for that or not. We just have to wait and see. Yeah. Godwin, let me start with you. What are your views and thoughts on this one?
Yeah, thank you very much once again, and let me actually say hello to our viewers. I think that for the very reasons that you gave, the three reasons you gave, I take a very ambivalent position on this. In some sense, I'm very excited that this is happening, but then in another sense, I'm a little kind of eerie about this whole thing. Let me give you reasons why. I think that this was the first time Boko Haram has done this.
Right.
They actually did the same thing in November last year. And really, it fell apart because the negotiation process wasn't done in a way that the government actually wanted. So government didn't want to engage what it called a faceless group, which is why things didn't happen at that point. But this time, it looks as if they want to kind of give it a shot again. On the positive side, if you look at it, it's a very good thing because lives are, I think they've killed over 3,000 people, if not more.
Way too much.
That's a lot. So definitely if such a group actually wants to come kind of ahead and say that we've given up arms, we are not going to fight anymore, we are not going to kill people, one, the government will be very happy, and the people of Nigeria will also be very happy. And the fact that they even have connections with groups in Mali and some other areas, for me, tells you that they are very strong groups. So again, sitting down and talking about this kind of issue will be a great thing. But given the demands they are making, how sure are we that as soon as they get the demands, they are not going to back out of this whole thing? For me, I think that given the outlook of the group, what is going to happen is that if they should get these demands, there will be some, even if the leaders actually decide that we are not going to go ahead and do whatever we're doing again, there will be elements within the group that will still continue with that. Let's look at, for example, a group like Al-Qaeda. You can actually decide to crush all their leaders, but the point is that there are elements spread all over the world, across the continent, across the country.
So you take the leaders out, you actually not done anything.
That's what I think. I think that the leaders are only the face of the organization. Right. But the point is that there are elements over there who will still cause problems. So again, I actually I think that the Nigerian government should be very cautious about even engaging such a group. They should be very careful, they should be tactical, which is why they need someone who is an expert in these issues to study the situation and see if really what Boko Haram is bringing to the table is a genuine one before they actually go ahead.
Okay, Funsho, on their demands, are they being realistic with the demands?
I agree perfectly that those demands are ridiculous. Number one, the first thing they want is
they want their members to be released unconditionally. Yeah.
Is that saying that they didn't commit any crime?
I mean, they won't charge them with anything. Yeah.
Number two, they want their mosque, places of worship to be rebuilt.
Mm-hmm.
What happens to all, in the last how many years, every Sunday, a minimum of 3 churches were bombed.
Yeah.
What happened to those? Has the government rebuilt those ones? And then what has the rest of the country done to them in terms of bombing them or killing them? What has that other part of the country done to them? You are the one that has, done wrong, and now you want compensation for doing the wrong thing. And then you want compensation. It's ridiculous. But let me also say this much, because I read a report on Mali. You see the fact that you said it right. They tried it. I think you said in November last year. They are faceless. But some people in Nigeria, they know who really are doing this. They are the politicians, the northern politicians. Now, for instance, the northern governor is the one that is now championing this settlement and all that. But last year, when they were trying to do the same thing that failed, they picked on one of the ex-president, Buhari, and they wanted him to be the front to negotiate on them. And he said, no, I'm not a part of that nonsense.
Doesn't want to get involved.
I'm not a part of that nonsense. So, what are they trying to do? So he failed. But now, I think that this is going to succeed. And the reason it's going to succeed is the reason for which they are coming out to say no more. It's not like they want to say no more because they are tired of. They get a lot of money from all over the world for doing what they're doing.
So why are they saying no more now?
The reason they are doing that is, if you go back to the Mali situation, France
again.
Mad about France just last week, because it went so low and all of that. Of course, they have American support now. America is giving them a lot of support. But the way France has dealt with them in Mali, because that is an extension, like you said. It's not Al-Qaeda, but of course the remnants or the sympathizers of Al-Qaeda, and they have these other groups they call all kinds of names. They are there. You really can get rid of the remnants. They're going to be there for a long time. But then, when you look at what is going on in Mali, and the American entry into the Mali situation, right now, as we speak, America has perfected a plan to plant in Niger Republic. Niger Republic is between the country Mali and the country Nigeria. You know what they're planning to do? Drone. Drone is what has succeeded so well in Afghanistan. Instead of having boots on ground, drone is not manned by human beings. It can be controlled from Pentagon in Washington. And they can be doing their stuffs anywhere around the world. And that's what they are doing now. And the main purpose of doing that is Niger becomes the central point to take care of all of this Islamic nonsense around the region. And they know. Boko Haram understands that they cannot, the firepower of America, especially when you're talking of drone, we are not talking of boots. They are in trouble. So they don't have a choice, it's got to. But then I agree with you. But what kind of leadership do we have out there? We have a good leadership. They should just do what Obama is doing to the Republicans right now. Call their bluff.
Okay. Obama and the Republicans. We will touch on that. But you know what? I'm just concerned, like any other person will be, that if the government or the leaderships go ahead and said, well, we're calling you bluff, forget it. We are not going to release your group members. We are not going to rebuild your worship places for you. And you are not going to be compensated. What happens then?
Well, my thinking is, if they release them, is that called amnesty? When you have killed and you have maimed, you have brought sorrow to a lot of families over so many years, and now we are welcoming you with drums rolling all over the place and dancing. What kind of nonsense is that? That means another group is going to come up tomorrow and do the same thing. But you see, if I were Jonathan, the president of Nigeria, I would do that if they had asked for it 2 years ago. But now that I know, and you know that there's no way America will bring its drone, what they call them now, installation into Niger, especially defining that they want to deal with Islamic uprising in that region without Nigeria knowing. So I'll be confident that this time around, they're gone.
And again,
so I won't give in just easily.
Right.
And again, there's something we call leverage. At this point, who has the leverage? Who
Exactly.
has the bigger capital going into this kind of fuzzy, messy negotiation?
The government.
It's the government that does. So I think that, again, that's why I talked about using experts. It's not as if this hasn't happened before, not only in Nigeria, in other places. So at least there's a precedent to follow. Use that, but the point is that whoever was involved in all those attacks must not go scot-free.
Exactly.
I think they have to find a way to
set
a very good example, just so that in the near future or the distant future, a different group decides that, hey, we want to do the same thing that Boko Haram did. They can have something to follow and say that, hey, a group that is similar as us, right, did that in the past.
They
were dealt with in a way,
Okay.
so we're not going to do the same thing. You do that and you allay the fears of people, which is why the government machinery needs to work.
Exactly.
All right, so that's on Boko Haram.
Exactly.
And hey, if you do pray, please pray for Nigeria. We do need peace around, not just in Africa, around the world. Yeah, there's too much going on. Now let's go over to South Africa. This is a very interesting one. And South Africa has donated $10 million to Mali. Still with this Mali issue again, to help curtail the rise of violence. $10 million. It is big money.
It is no money.
It's no money. Well, but it is still money.
Yeah, sure.
When you tie it down with the fact that they have HIV patients who've run out of funding. You know,
you didn't run out of funding. Funding was just withdrawn.
Funding was withdrawn. But then we discussed this later on, and issues that came up was like, shouldn't they be taking care also of their own? It's good to go out there and help. That is fine.
Yeah.
I was happy when I read the report that another country coming in to help, their fellow African country is beautiful. But you have your own folks also within. If nothing is done, we are going to lose brothers and sisters to this dreadful disease. So why is South Africa coming in, taking that amount of money? To me, it's big, but to Funsho, it's a little money, giving it to Mali.
Let me say this. I think that, I agree with you. I agree with the very foundation of your argument, which is, if you have fire burning in your home, why won't you put out the fire first before you go out helping other people?
I know you're going to justify them going out, giving money to Mali.
No. I think it's a great foundation or argument, but it's not as if South Africa only has $10 million. They have money.
They're not like Zimbabwe that has 200.
It's not like Zimbabwe that has only $217
okay, so what you're
in
saying
its account.
Is that South Africa actually needs to come up with more money.
No, what I'm saying is that South Africa has more than $10 million. So if they want to help Mali, they can do that and at the same time take care of their own. That's my point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's hold on to that, or taking care of their own, and let's take a short break. When we come back, we're still going to talk a bit more about the small amount of that $10 million going out of South Africa. And there's also an interesting issue from Zimbabwe, and this will blow your mind. So we'll be right back.